Have you ever felt like everything was going great until suddenly it wasn't? Like you were building something solid, only to watch it slip right through your fingers? I've been there more times than I'd like to admit. In this video, I'm sharing one powerful concept that changed everything for me, something I call the critical control factor. If you've ever been betrayed, blindsided, or lost something you worked hard to build, don't skip this one. I've been lied to, betrayed, screwed over, more times than I care to count. And if you've been in business, relationships, or just life long enough, chances are you've experienced it too. You build something up with hard work, invest your time and money, and then, boom, it slips right through your fingers. Not because you made a dumb decision, but because you didn't have real control. That's what I want to talk about today. Something I call the critical control factor. I came up with this idea after years of painful experience. It wasn't from books or lectures. It was from being kicked around and learning the hard way. I've lost businesses, money, and people simply because I didn't understand who or what actually held the power in the situation. Once I finally saw the pattern, everything changed. Let me break it down. The critical control factor is the one thing that ensures you get the behavior or outcome you want from others. It's not manipulation. It's not trickery. It's knowing exactly what lever controls the machine and making sure that lever is in your hands. Here's what it looks like in real life. Years ago, I opened a small business in a really solid location. High foot traffic, great visibility. I renovated the place, poured cash into marketing, built a loyal customer base. The place started buzzing. Then the landlord raised the rent. I protested, but he didn't care. He knew I'd made the spot valuable. I either paid the new rate or packed up. I walked, and within weeks, he opened his own version of my business in the exact spot I'd built at. That was the moment I realized I didn't control the critical factor. The landlord did, because he owned the property. No matter how hard I worked, he always had the upper hand. Ownership was the critical factor, and I didn't have it. Let's talk online businesses. I've sold products on big marketplaces, you know the kind. For months, I worked like hell to grow my brand, boost my ratings, and get to that coveted first page. My sales exploded, and then one day, I lost access. Gone. Just like that. Either a hack, or maybe a partner I didn't trust enough. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I didn't control the account. The passwords, recovery systems, two-factor, I left them vulnerable. And that cost me everything. The critical control factor there, access. Plain and simple. This one might hit close to home. You got a team. Things seem fine on the surface. But under the radar, people are complaining, whispering, resisting. And then out of nowhere, the team starts falling apart. People quit. Projects stall. You lose momentum. What happened? Turns out there was someone on the inside, a respected voice, maybe even a long-time employee, pulling people away from your vision. You didn't even realize how much influence they had until it was too late. In that situation, the critical control factor was internal leadership. Not titles, not org charts, real influence. And I didn't control it. This isn't just a business thing. Think about protests. A crowd gathers. Emotions rise. Tensions grow. How do authorities typically respond? They don't try to fight the entire crowd. They go straight for the leaders, isolate them, negotiate with them, or remove them altogether. Once the leadership is neutralized, the crowd usually loses direction. Same principle, different scale. There's this moment I had, weirdly, while riding a bike that really hammered the point home. What gives you control on a bicycle? It's not your legs, not the speed. It's the handlebar. That's how you steer. That's how you balance. If you can't steer, it doesn't matter how fast you're pedaling. You're crashing. That handlebar is the critical control factor. It decides everything. Same thing in life and business. You could be working like a maniac, but if you're not holding the handlebars, if you don't control the one element that determines direction, you're just hoping for the best. And hoping is not a strategy. So what does this look like in real life? Let me bring this into sharper focus. In real estate, control is about owning, not renting. In online platforms, it's your logins, your domain names, your copyrights. If someone else has access, you're a guest in your own house. In teams, it's about influence. Who do they actually listen to? That's the person you either need to support or remove. In negotiations, control is leverage. Sometimes it's information. Sometimes it's cash. Sometimes it's just the ability to walk away. And yes, in some darker areas of politics and lobbying, the critical control factor might be compromise. Dirt on someone that ensures compliance. This one's more subtle, but useful. Let's say you ask someone for a glass of water. You just asked. They might say yes, they might not. You say please. Better odds, but still not guaranteed. You offer them $100. Now you've introduced motivation. Or you grab them by their weak spot and demand the water. Now, I'm not saying go around threatening people. That's not the point. But you get the idea. The last version is the only one where you're not relying on chance. You're using the control factor. Most people live their lives stuck between the second and third version, asking politely and offering incentives. That can work, but when the stakes are high, you better know where the pressure point is and whether you control it. This is where most people go wrong, especially entrepreneurs. They pour time and energy into building something. Long hours, hustle, sacrifice, but they never stop to ask, do I actually control the result of all this effort? Too many people work their tails off building someone else's empire, and then act shocked when the rug gets pulled out from under them. But the truth is, they never had the lever to begin with. The key isn't just to work hard, it's to make sure you're holding the piece that makes all the other pieces move. These days, I ask one question before I jump into anything. What's the critical control factor here? And do I own it? If I'm starting a project, I secure ownership before investing time or money. If I'm hiring someone important, I look at loyalty and influence before skill set. If I'm using a platform, I make sure my access is locked down. If I'm building something with a partner, I put the agreement in writing and keep leverage where it belongs. It's not paranoia, it's protection. Once you've lost enough, once you've been burned, you stop playing games with your future. Every deal, every team, every system has a weak point. One spot where, if you control it, the whole thing bends your way. That's the critical control factor. Your job? Find it, hold it, protect it. Because if you don't, someone else will. And they won't give it back when things start working. Control the lever, and you control the outcome. That's what I've learned, through mistakes, loss, and a lot of bruised pride. But I'm grateful, because once you understand how this works, you stop blaming the world for what happens to you. You stop feeling powerless. And that's when you finally start to win. So here's the bottom line. If you don't hold the critical control factor in any situation, you're leaving your future up to chance. Doesn't matter how smart, skilled, or hardworking you are. Without control, you're vulnerable. I've learned that the hard way. But now I never start anything without identifying the one lever that makes the whole thing move. Thanks for sticking around. If this message hit home, make sure to drop a comment, share your experience, and don't forget to subscribe. In the next video, I'll be breaking down a huge myth about what it really takes to become a pro. Not 10,000 hours, not even 100. You want to see that. Until then, take control, stay sharp, and keep building smart.